Hello and welcome to Mad About Sports. And today we are back again with yet another team. It is the Orange Army we're going to talk about this time around. Of course, it's been a fantastic franchise over the years since their inception 2013. They've had great amount of success in the IPL. They've gone on to win the 2016 IPL under the leadership of David Warner. After that, in 2017 as well, they made it to the playoffs. 2018, they made it to the finals, but they lost to Chennai Super Kings there. But here we are going to be talking about this franchise and what is their impact, what they're going to create this season, and what went wrong for them last season. Because last season, one can possibly say was the worst ever season in Sunrisers in the recent past. And that's something which we're going to talk about because a team which consistently made to playoffs in every other season all of a sudden fell short. There could definitely be a reason for it. Since 2016 till 2021, they almost made the playoffs almost every season. In 2020, made it to the qualifier. 2019, once again, made it to the eliminator. 2018 finals, 2017 eliminator. But somewhere or the other, what really went wrong? Of course, you know about the story about David Warner. David Warner had to split ways with Sunrisers Hyderabad. That came as definitely a heartbreak for a lot of Sunrisers fans. And of course, Kane Williamson had to lead them. And we're going to be talking about what Kane Williamson really did for them last season, and what is a new leadership role like for Sunrisers Hyderabad. But remember, at the start of the season, they did name now Aiden Markram will be leading the Sunrisers franchise. He is the one who led them, the Sunrisers franchise, in the South Africa T20 to the victory. That is something great under Aiden Markram, which they achieved in the recent past. SA20 was a huge success. And remember, Aiden Markram has got the Midas touch. He's the only captain in South African history to lead them to an ICC trophy when he won them the Under 19 World Cup in 2014 as well. A player who's looked upon as one of the next big thing in world cricket, has got definite potential as a batter and as an all-rounder now where he's established himself. And this year was all about Sunrisers Hyderabad finding or forming a team which can really win. So they had a lot of changes which they made from the last season for sure. They had a tough time in the auction table, and they got almost every desired player one team can really desire for. They got like so Harry Brooks, Glenn Phillips was always part of this franchise. They got Mayank Agarwal there, and of course to add to that the strong Indian bowling core, which we'll be talking about as we head ahead into the video as well. But let's talk about last season first up and how did they perform in the last season. Last season definitely wasn't the ideal for them. If you look at the wins and losses, they totally only had 6 wins, and majority of them, most of the wins came batting first. And defending, they only got to chase down a total three times, out of which they lost 2 times and they won once. Maybe not the ideal stat we look upon. Maybe you can't really judge after 3 games where that was a stronger suit, but definitely batting first. They had a lot of issues as well, especially with the likes of Kane Williamson not really coming into the act. Likes of players like even Abhishek Sharma, who they really entrusted up and did show glimpses of what he can possibly do, but was not the player who they really thought he will turn out to be. Rahul Tripathi was definitely a silver lining in that batting order, but they were searching for options. They certainly were searching for options. They were really having that middle muddle, one can say so, in finding a middle order bat to come and save them. They looked at Abdul Samad last season. They looked at various other players, but that definitely was not the answer. Nicholas Pooran did show certain sparks, but Nicholas Pooran has always been a disappointment in the recent past in the IPL. So that's something which we're going to talk about, how far they can really go this season. They've made certain big changes. They've got a lot of new players, and looks like one of the best teams on paper this season as well. Batting versus bowling run rate is something which we always do. So when you talk about the batting versus bowling stat, one thing which is quite clear from their last year's approach is that their bowling was definitely the stronger suit. We can understand something that has been always been the case with Sunrisers Hyderabad, isn't it? Over the years, they've always had bowling as a stronger suit. Let's see how they went about, especially in bowling first and bowling second as well. Now, if you talk about bowling first, that's been their best result so far. They've gone less than 170 to 160 once almost every game, picked up close to 7 wickets. But bowling second, defending totals, as you already saw, they lost 6 games whenever they have tried to defend totals that have gone close to 10 runs per over. So unlike Sunrisers Hyderabad. If you look at some of the best season they've had, it's always been their batting team scoring close to 160, 170 runs, and their ballers really coming into the party. But remember, last season there was one big void which they were really searching answers for. It was Rashid Khan, who really shifted his base from Hyderabad to Gujarat. That 4 overs bank and that attacking option in the middle overs was missing completely. So the way he had to find a spinner to fill his void, at the same time look for options to ball the dead. Bhuvneshwar Kumar has never been the bowler he was in the previous years, or maybe you can talk about someone like Umran Malik, who's been a enforcer for Sunrisers Hyderabad in the middle overs, could not really do that job in the death overs. Marco Jansen looked like a very promising bowler up front, but couldn't do the job towards the lateral. One of the games was against Gujarat Titans, where one fell. Sunrisers Hyderabad had a phenomenal game, scoring 195 all in Wankhede, but they just let it slip away to Rashid Khan's exploits, where Marco Jansen went for plenty of runs in that game. And Bhuvneshwar Kumar did also go for a lot of runs. Remember, that is a game where Umran Malik picked up 5-wicket haul in the middle overs, but leaking runs in the death overs was a consistent factor for the Sunrisers Hyderabad. How have they tried to cover that up this season? Even if you look at the last season, one of the games where they played against Mumbai Indians as well, where Natarajan went for plenty of runs. Natarajan, over the years in IPL, established himself as a death overs bowler who could come in and pin Yorkers at his will. But last season, coming after an injury layoff, Natarajan really looked out of sorts as well. That's something which was really concerning the Sunrisers Hyderabad if you look at the entirety of the season. And yet the batting was put under a lot of pressure as well, where Rahul Tripathi had to score at a higher clip. You expect someone like Kane Williamson, who had a very, very average IPL last time around. Maybe last time's IPL really dented Kane Williamson's stature as an IPL player as well. People started questioning him. A lot of critics came out saying that he's not fitted, maybe he's not suited for the T20 format of things as well. So something which we're going to talk about is the best batters from the last season, to understand how did their batting really crumble as well. Though they had a decent season with the ball, one can say at least with bowling first, but their batting also did crumble. Now, if you talk about Kane Williamson, look at the strike rate, 93 strike rate, something which you don't expect from a player of Kane Williamson's stature. Kane Williamson in his best season, especially if you talk about 2018 season where he was an orange cap winner, he batted a strike rate of 130, 135 odd. That's the best Kane Williamson can give on a very good season. Remember, he was coming up for an elbow injury, but that really had negative impact on the Sunrisers team. Every time he got an opportunity, he was just unable to deliver. The opening slot became a nightmare for the Sunrisers team. They really did not know where to play Kane Williamson, where to play him as an opener, where to play him at number 3, because they just couldn't create a lot more negative impact innings. And we talk about Nicholas Puran, had a 300-run season, but he was banged upon to have a 400, 450-run season at a higher strike rate as well. 145 is a decent strike rate, but having 300-run season may be something which you don't expect from someone like Nicholas Puran. Aiden Markham was once again a feature in that particular team, but Aiden Markham, did he have a very good season? No, not quite there. Batting at number 4, he did a decent job. Maybe you could have said you expect a 400-odd run season as well. As we did discuss in our previous videos as well, when you have 2 to 3 batters scoring 400 plus once a season, that really secures a lot more security into your batting order. That gives other players to also chip in towards lateral. That gives that stability into your batting order. Something which you really didn't see from Sunrisers Hyderabad. There were 2 batters, of course. Abhishek Sharma, who was possibly one of the silver linings as well, who was given that opening slot, did fail initially, but did come good as well. But Rahul Tripathi was once again the silver lining for a lot of reasons, because he batted at a very higher clip. He batted close to 160 strike rate, scoring 400 runs. Is a very decent season. But where did they go wrong once again? Though there are 2 batters scoring 400 run season, but was that good enough? Not definitely. It wasn't good enough. They had 6 wins. They ideally would have wanted 8 wins. They got off to a very good start in the IPL. Remember, they won initially some of their games, but then they had this landslide which they couldn't really recover from. That's primarily because the batting and bowling really failed when it really mattered for them to click. And that's one of the primary reasons why Sunrisers Hyderabad found themselves in a position which meant they couldn't qualify into the playoffs. And that put a lot of scanner for the Sunrisers Hyderabad franchise. They had to look for new options as well. But let's look at the best bowlers, right? That'll give you pretty much an indicating story as to how they went about. Now, if you look at the last name of the chart, that's Umran Malik, who had a phenomenal season. But look at the run rate. Most of the bowlers except Jagadish and Suchit, and maybe you can say to an extent Marco Jansen, who bowled majority of his overs up front. And Bhuvneshwar Kumar obviously has been there with his experience, but he still went for a lot of runs towards the lateral. That's something which you saw from Bhuvneshwar Kumar. They did try to use Bhuvneshwar Kumar predominantly as a new ball bowler, but then looking at the inexperience towards the lateral, he had to bowl the tough overs as well. Bhuvneshwar Kumar had a very average season, something which you expect Bhuvneshwar Kumar not to have. Bhuvneshwar Kumar is the leader of the space attack. So you expect at least 16 to 20 wickets from this man, and which he couldn't really deliver last time around. Now, when you talk about Jansen, he did create a lot of impact bowling with the new ball, but towards the lateral he did leak a lot of runs. Now we're talking about Natarajan as well. You can say he bowls a tough overs for the Sunrisers Hyderabad team, hence that run rate can be around 9, 8 and 9. But still, he went for plenty of runs towards the lateral end, though he picked up 18 wickets, but that does not really tell you a story. But Umran Malik, you can say, was a bright prospect playing his first ever full season in the IPL, picked up 22 wickets, which included a 5-wicket haul. That also meant he came into the Indian team's reckoning as well. And now this season, Umran Malik is a different player. He's played a lot more games for Team India. Coming into this Sunrisers Hyderabad lineup, he's possibly the second most experienced bowler in that fast bowling quartet of Sunrisers Hyderabad this season. And he's going to definitely have a tough time as well, because he'll be sharing responsibility with Bhuvneshwar Kumar, Natarajan, and there's also Kartik Tyagi there. Now, what is it about Kartik Tyagi? Because a lot of people have been talking about Kartik Tyagi. He's a player who's really to watch out for sure, because he's picked up a lot of wickets in the domestic circuit as well. This season, Kartik Tyagi only played five. You can say he picked up 6 wickets. He picked up some of the important wickets this time around, but is he the kind of player who they really are going to start with? Maybe not. Remember, Kartik Tyagi bowled a brilliant over in 2021 IPL, where he was defending close to 3 runs of 4 balls, and he really pulled that off. So that's where Kartik Tyagi really came into the limelight. He also had a fantastic under-19 World Cup prior to that. Kartik Tyagi in the domestic season picked up 6 wickets. He might be seen as an option to replace Natarajan to start out with if Natarajan is not having a good season. But let's look at some of the players as well, because they've got some all-rounders in that team, likes of Sanveer Singh, who had a phenomenal season with Punjab this time around, picking up close to 2 to 3 wickets. He picked up with the ball, but at the same time striking at a strike rate of close to 150. Sanveer Singh had a phenomenal domestic season. He scored 119 runs in domestic season, and all of them came at a very high strike rate as well. Now there's Vimran Sharma from Jammu and Kashmir, a player to watch out for as well. Another all-rounder who they've really gotten services of, scored 128 runs in the Syed Mustaq Ali Trophy. At the same time, picked up wickets with the ball as well. So he's a very interesting addition into this into the Sunrisers Hyderabad team. But what happened to Abdul Samad, a player which has been highly spoken about over the years? Remember when he came into the limelight in 2020 IPL, all of a sudden people were like, okay, maybe this guy's the next big thing. But somewhere he did go out of the limelight. He just maybe tapered off. Now, when we talk about unearthing Jammu and Kashmir talents, you can say Sunrisers Hyderabad have done a great job. Unearthed Umran Malik, and this time around they have someone like a Vivran Sharma there as well. Let's see how he goes about it this season with the Sunrisers Hyderabad. Very exciting prospect, but at the same time, it's going to be very interesting to see how they use these players, because they're enough domestic talent at this point to really use them as the impact substitute as well. Talking about which, this is going to be an opportunity for Sunrisers Hyderabad to try out some new players as well. Their impact substitutes are going to be very interesting. Now, if you look at the team, now let's pick up the predicted 11 for this team. You can say one of the strongest predicted 11s with the strongest middle order of this IPL is with the Sunrisers Hyderabad team. Look at the number of players they have. They're going to start out with Mayank Agarwal, who they've got in the auction. Experienced campaigner, can play spin beautifully in the middle overs, alongside Abhishek Sharma, another exciting prospect, had a very decent season last time around. Rahul Tripathi already made his India debut, coming with a lot of reputation. Mayank Agarwal will certainly have a point to prove. He's out of the reckoning for the Indian team, and also he was ousted out of the Punjab team as well. So he's certainly a player with a point to prove this season. And now look at that middle order. That middle order looks as scary as any team in IPL this season around. Now you have Aiden Markram, Harry Brook, Glenn Phillips, 3 of the most dangerous middle order bats in world cricket at this point. Harry Brooks scoring at a strike rate of more than 120 in Test cricket there. He's coming into this team and walking in with a high bid and a high reputation. Remember, he was one of the main reason why England won that series in Pakistan last time, the T20 series. And after that, he went on to become an established Test cricketer, was part of England's T20 World Cup squad as well. Glenn Phillips had a phenomenal T20 World Cup, has been scoring a lot of runs for New Zealand in the recent past, coming in with another reputation. Accelerating fielder. He's one of the fastest fielders in the world, but he's definitely going to keep wickets for this team. Washington Sundar, another exciting all-round talent. Once Washington Sundar unleashes his batting potential as well, he's certainly a player to watch out for. Then you have Marco Jansen. What a phenomenal SA20 did he have with the bat and also with the ball. With the ball, you can say towards the lateral end, he still is a concern, but with the bat, he's become a stronger hitter. Now that means you have batting till 8 and 8 really good power-packed batters. This is the team to watch out for this season, primarily because of their batting powerhouse. And look at the Indian bowling core. If you have Kartik Tyagi, Umran Malik and Bhuvneshwar Kumar and Marco Jansen with 4 bowlers who can bowl at very high pace. And at the same time, on days when they are playing on spinning surfaces, they can use someone like an Adil Rashid as well. Now that's going to be an interesting factor how they use Adil Rashid. Adil Rashid, remember, towards the latter end of T20 World Cup, he put in man of the match performance after man of the match performance, and that's something which you get from Adil Rashid. And they'll be playing most of their games in Hyderabad in Rajiv Gandhi International Stadium. Uh, in Hyderabad, it's very interesting. Some of the games you'll get a turning wicket, and some of the games you'll get a flat wicket as well. If you get a turning wicket, and especially if they're going to travel to places like Lucknow and Chennai, you would want to use that overseas option as Adil Rashid. Can they go in with 3 overseas players and use their overseas option as the impact sub? Definitely, that's an option they have as well. Because remember, they can possibly go in with that 3 overseas middle order bats of Brooks, Glenn Phillips, and Aiden Markham, of course, who will be leading this team. But at the same time, maybe the fourth option can be that impact player. Remember, they have Marco Jansen on good bowling surfaces, which is going to aid swing. They can possibly unleash someone like a Marco Jansen. And on surfaces where they want maybe death bowling to really come in handy, they can use Fazal Haq Farooqi from Afghanistan, who's been bowling exceptionally well towards the latter end of the game, and Adil Rashid on surfaces, which will turn quite a lot. Now, let's talk about the Indian domestic talent, right? Because I did mention Vivrant Sharma, Sanveer Singh. How are they going to use them? They're also got Mayank Dagar there, another an exciting prospect. He was an exciting prospect from 2016-20, and somewhere down the line, you reckon he tapered off. But after Himachal Pradesh having a very decent season, he's back on the reckoning again. How can Mayank Dagar go about it? He picked up 12 wickets in the Syed Mustaq Ali Trophy, but at the same time, he scored a lot of runs as well. So it's going to be very interesting to see how they use Mayank Dagar into complete effect. And also, they have Upendra Sharma, or Upendra Yadav, sorry, Upendra Yadav, the wicketkeeper batter again, who also had a very decent Syed Mustaq Ali Trophy. He can be used as a backup wicket-keeping option for this team if they don't want to use Glenn Phillips and maybe add an extra foreigner into that team as well. So it's they have a lot of all-round options. Now you talk about players like Aiden Markram who can chip in with the ball. You can talk about players even like Abhishek Sharma who can chip in with the ball. That's a lot of overs with which they'll be stepping into every game with. They'll at least have 7 bowling options. You can say 6.5 bowling options with Aiden Markram, who's very keen on to chip in with the ball. At the same time, maybe someone like Abhishek Sharma as well. But do they have wicket takers as spinners? No, that's their biggest question, biggest conundrum as well. If you can see the predicted 11 once again on the screen, you can understand that 11 players, we do not have a wicket taker there. Now, talking about a wicket taking spinner rather, Washington Sundar bowls really well in the power play. One of the strongest suits which he has is bowling in the power play. Now, if you need a wicket taking spinner, that's where they'll have to search for answers and maybe find out a bowler who can really pick up wickets for them through the middle overs. And that's going to be a very interesting case study as well. How they use that. Is it Adil Rashid? Can they afford to play a bowler like Adil Rashid every game? Or can they go for a bowler who has definitely been out of radar in the recent past? It's none other than Mayank Markande. How did Mayank Markande go about it? Mayank Markande, the Syed Mustaq Ali Trophy, picked up 12 wickets at an average of close to 17. Maybe he can be their option. His googlies are still very effective, and maybe he, on occasions where they really feel like on this wicket is turning, they're unable to pick up wickets through the middle overs. Then they can maybe bring in someone like a Mayank Markande instead of Umran Malik if need be on certain surfaces through the middle overs, because that's a very similar job what Umran Malik will be doing, try to pick up wickets in the middle overs. But if it's on a spinning surface, they can bring in Mayank Markande as well. So that's where Sunrisers Hyderabad, you can say, would have covered almost every basis so far, and they'll be hoping they can repeat the success of the Sunrisers Eastern Cape, who won the SA20 recently under the same leadership as well. So guys, if you did enjoy this video, do not forget to hit the subscribe button and also follow us on our Instagram page for all the latest updates on sports. And also do not forget to check out our courses which we are doing on cricket analytics as well. The link is there in the description. And also do comment your favorite lineup. What is your ideal playing 11 for Sunrisers Hyderabad, and who should they use as impact substitute? And how is Aiden Markram's captaincy also going to be? Thank you for watching this video, and have a good time, all of you.